Good morning or good afternoon. I have no idea where I'm going to end up in the schedule, but at any way, welcome to Assembly. So, if you're willing to, close your eyes, and if not, if you can daydream with your eyes open, think of like your favorite journey. Could be a desert, could be mountains, could be a steep peak, but if you would, please, somewhere in an automobile. And think of where you're going and how you got there. Was it a long, easy, ambling, meandering road? Was it steep? Was it curvy? And on that road, when the curves start and the corners and where it's dangerous and sometimes most beautiful, there's likely guardrail on the sides. Why are there guardrail? It's to keep us on the road. It's to help us get to our destination. But it is a journey, and not just a destination that we remember. And such is our life, littered with guardrails to get to our destination. And we have guardrails from early on, don't we? Stuff like be home at 10, or be home before it's dark, and no, you may not go out with those kids. Or were we those kids? So we have guardrails. I told my kids once that, no, I think you need the guardrail still. And they said, what? Guardrails? So you know the guardrails to keep you focused, to keep you on the road, to keep you on the path. Just like the guardrails on the streets, the roads for our journey. And they got it. It's like, oh, Dad. Okay. And if we had character that was beyond reproach, if our kids had character that was beyond reproach, would we need to give them guardrails? Would we need to tell them you can or you can't or don't? Probably not. One person comes to mind who had character that was so amazing that he knew his Father's will. Raise your hand if you're ahead of me on this already. Good. He knew his Father's will, and even at such a young age, he was in the temple talking and teaching. We don't ever see or hear that Jesus' character ever came into question. So it's easy to think that he knew his Father's will and that he didn't have guardrails. Or did he? Okay. So after Jesus was baptized, God said, with him I am well pleased. So was that his guardrails? And from there, we know that Jesus regularly met with and broke bread with the tax collectors, the cheats and prostitutes, the sinners. And so many times we're told that that's who he was with. It doesn't say that he went into the local synagogue and praised and worshiped with those members, but he was in the town squares, had tables set up, and he was spending his time with the sinners and tax collectors. And when we're raised, and as I raise my children, we keep telling our kids, don't. if we had the character, if we had the will, if we had, or if we drawed or relied upon the Holy Spirit in the same way that Jesus did, where would we be spending our time? I think we'd be spending more time outside of the doors, not inside. We'd be taking our ministry to the streets, where we would probably learn a lot. It's nice to be in here, and it's comfortable to be in here. I'm very comfortable in my church, or your church, because I get fed, I get nourished, I get taught. I hear different perspectives, and it's enriching. And when I'm on the outside of these walls and I hear testimonies from other people, from different people, and I hear their stories, I'm humbled. And I feel fortunate and thankful. So with the Holy Spirit's help, I'm going to try to get rid of some of my guardrails. And with that guidance from the Holy Spirit, I hope my kids, my sons, can drop theirs. So what about you? Your journey? Are you at a point where you still need the guardrails? Do you have the faith of a mustard seed that's going to let you get rid of your guardrails to drop? The Lord is our safety net. So all we need is the faith to go out and do it. Jesus obviously knew that. He had the will, the courage, and all of those things that he needed to be able to go out and meet with the people you're not supposed to even associate with, to teach, to bring them into the way. As we heard in today's sermon, that God acknowledged, you guys, you blew it again. You're not following the covenant. But the next covenant I make, I'm going to write my rules in your heart so that you know. So let's remember those rules that are written on our heart. Let's rely on our baptism. Let's remember our baptism. And let's at least assume the strength and the faith that comes with a mustard seed worth of faith, and go out into the world and proclaim the good news. Thank you.